The rain came down hard that Tuesday afternoon, the kind of rain that soaks through your clothes in seconds. Jessica stood at the bus stop, her 8-month-old daughter Lily crying in her arms. She watched the bus pull away, its taillights disappearing down the street. That was the last bus for the next 2 hours. Her shoulders sagged. This wasn't supposed to happen. She'd planned everything perfectly down to the minute, but life had other plans. 3 hours earlier, Jessica had walked into Romano's diner where she'd worked for the past year and a half. Mr. Romano, the owner, couldn't even look her in the eye. "I'm sorry, Jessica. I really am. But we're cutting staff. Business has been slow and I have to let 2 people go. You're a great worker, but the others have been here longer." Just like that, her job was gone. The job that paid for her tiny apartment. The job that bought formula and diapers. The job that was supposed to keep them afloat until she could figure out something better. She'd picked up Lily from daycare, and the owner, Mrs. Chen, had pulled her aside.
"Jessica, you're behind 3 weeks on payment."
"I can give you until Friday, but after that, I can't keep Lily here anymore." "I'm sorry, but I have my own bills to pay." Jessica had nodded, unable to speak. What could she say? She understood. Everyone had their own struggles. Now she stood in the rain, completely soaked. Lily's cries grew louder, and Jessica bounced her gently, trying to calm her down. The baby was hungry. They both were. Jessica had skipped lunch to save money, and now her stomach twisted with hunger and anxiety. She reached for her phone to call her sister Amy. Maybe she could come pick them up. But the screen was black, dead, of course it was. She'd forgotten to charge it last night, too worried about the overdue electric bill to think about anything else. Jessica looked down at her diaper bag. It felt heavier than usual, or maybe she was just exhausted. Inside were 2 diapers, 1 bottle with a little formula left, and a thin blanket that was now soaking wet. Her wallet held $4 and some change. Not enough for a taxi, even if she could find one in this weather. The bus stop bench was covered in water, so she couldn't even sit down. She just stood there, swaying back and forth, trying to keep Lily calm. Other people hurried past with umbrellas, their faces buried in their phones. Nobody stopping to notice the young mother and her baby standing in the rain. Jessica felt the tears coming, hot against her cold cheeks. She was 23 years old and felt like she was drowning. How did everything fall apart so quickly? A year ago, she'd had a plan. She was working at the diner, saving money and thinking about taking some online classes. Lily's father, Derek, had promised to help. He'd said all the right things about being a family, about making it work. Then Lily was born 6 weeks early, spent 2 weeks in the hospital, and Derek decided it was too much. He left when Lily was 3 weeks old. Jessica hadn't heard from him since. The medical bills from Lily's birth were crushing. Even with Medicaid, there were expenses she couldn't cover. Collection agencies called constantly. She'd stopped answering numbers she didn't recognize. Her apartment was a studio in the worst part of town, but it was home. Or it had been. Now she was 3 months behind on rent, and her landlord had started leaving eviction notices on her door. She'd been moving them from the door to her kitchen drawer, as if hiding them would make the problem disappear. Jessica looked down the empty street, hoping to see another bus. Nothing. Just rain and gray sky and the fading afternoon light. In another hour, it would be dark. Lily's crying shifted to a different pitch, the one that meant she was really hungry now. Jessica dug through the diaper bag for the bottle. Her hands were shaking from the cold as she offered it to Lily. The baby grabbed it eagerly, and for a moment, there was quiet except for the sound of rain hitting the pavement. Then she heard a car slow down behind her. Jessica tensed. She'd lived in this city long enough to know that strange cars stopping near women alone usually meant trouble. She didn't turn around, just held Lily closer and kept her eyes forward. The car window rolled down. "Excuse me?" It was a man's voice, deep and calm. Jessica still didn't turn around. "Miss, are you all right? You've been standing here in the rain for a while now." Jessica finally glanced over her shoulder. The car was a black Mercedes, the kind of car she'd only seen in movies. The man inside wore a suit and looked to be in his mid-40s. His face was kind, but Jessica had learned not to trust kind faces. "I'm fine," she said, her voice barely loud enough to hear over the rain. "Thank you." The man looked at Lily, then at Jessica's soaked clothes and worn-out sneakers. "You don't look fine. Where are you trying to go?" "It's not far. The next bus will be here soon." Another lie. Everything she'd said in the past few hours had been a lie. She was drowning in lies and unpaid bills and broken promises. "The next bus doesn't come for another hour and 40 minutes, the man said. He said it gently, like he was trying not to embarrass her. I checked the schedule when I pulled up. You and your baby will freeze out here by then. Jessica bit her lip. She wanted to argue, to prove she was fine, to show she didn't need anyone's help. But Lily made a small sound, and Jessica realized the baby was shivering against her chest. "Look," the man continued, "I know you don't know me. I understand why you'd be cautious. But I'm a father myself, and I can't drive away knowing a mother and baby are stuck out here in this weather. Please, let me give you a ride. Wherever you need to go." Jessica studied him more carefully. He seemed genuine. "But so had Derek once upon a time. I really appreciate it, but you're coming with me," the man said, and this time it wasn't a question. His voice was firm but not unkind. "I'm not taking no for an answer. Not with a baby involved. I'll drive with the doors unlocked if it makes you feel safer. You can have my phone to call someone. Whatever you need. But I'm not leaving you here." Jessica stood frozen, every instinct screaming at her to walk away. But Lily shivered again, and the rain came down harder, and she was so tired of fighting everything alone. The man leaned over and opened the passenger door from inside. Warm air drifted out from the car. "Please," he said quietly. "Let me help." Jessica looked down at Lily, then at the empty street, then back at the warm car. She thought about the 2-hour wait, the dark coming soon, the long walk home even after the bus ride. She took a breath and made a decision that would change everything. She walked to the car and climbed inside. The warmth hit Jessica immediately as she settled into the leather seat. She'd forgotten what warm felt like. The car smelled clean, like expensive cologne and new leather. It was the kind of car she'd never imagined sitting in. The man reached behind his seat and pulled out his suit jacket. "Here, wrap this around your baby. She's shivering." Jessica took it carefully, surprised by how soft the fabric felt. She wrapped it around Lily, who stopped crying almost instantly. The baby's eyes grew heavy in the warmth. "Thank you," Jessica whispered, not sure what else to say. "I'm Richard, by the way. Richard Chen." He put the car in drive and pulled away from the curb slowly, like he was being extra careful. "What's your name?" "Jessica. And this is Lily." "Pretty name," Richard said, glancing at the baby. "My daughter's grown now, but I remember those days. The sleepless nights, the worry. It's the hardest job in the world." Jessica nodded but didn't respond. She was too busy trying not to cry again. Something about his kindness was breaking through the walls she'd built up over the past year. "Where are we headed?" Richard asked. Jessica gave him her address, then added quickly, "It's not the best neighborhood. You might not want to drive there in a car like this." Richard smiled slightly. "I grew up in that neighborhood, actually. Long time ago, but I know it well. It's changed, but it's still home to a lot of good people." They drove in silence for a few minutes. Jessica stared out the window, watching the city pass by. The rain was starting to let up a little. Richard turned up the heat another notch without saying anything. "Rough day?" he asked after a while. Jessica almost laughed, but it came out more like a sob. "You could say that. Want to talk about it?" "Not really," she said, then surprised herself by continuing. "I lost my job today. Got told this morning, just like that after a year and a half." Richard nodded slowly. "I'm sorry. That's never easy. And I'm behind on daycare payments. Behind on rent. Behind on everything." The words just kept coming like a dam breaking. "I don't even know why I'm telling you this. You're a stranger. But I guess it doesn't matter anymore, who knows? Everything's falling apart anyway." She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Lily had fallen asleep against her chest, finally warm and content. "What kind of work were you doing?" Richard asked. "Waitressing. At Romano's Diner on 5th Street. It wasn't much, but it was steady. The tips were decent on weekends." Jessica paused. "I never went to college. Got pregnant during my last year of community college and had to drop out. Lily's dad left right after she was born. So it's just been me and her trying to make it work." Richard listened without interrupting, which Jessica appreciated. Most people either offered useless advice or looked at her with pity. He just listened. "The thing is," Jessica continued, "I've been applying to other jobs for months, anything that pays better, but I never get past the first interview. They see on my resume that I didn't finish school and that's it, or they find out I have a baby and worry about me missing work. I can't win either way." "How old is Lily?" Richard asked. 8 months. She was born premature, Spent 2 weeks in the hospital. That's when her dad decided he couldn't handle it. Jessica felt the familiar anger rising in her chest. He said he wasn't ready to be a father to a sick baby. Like any of us are ready for the hard stuff. Richard pulled up to a red light and turned to look at her. That must have been terrifying.
Having a premature baby, I mean. It was the worst 2 weeks of my life, Jessica admitted.
I thought I was going to lose her. The doctors kept using all these medical terms I didn't understand. I slept in a chair next to her incubator. I was so scared, but she made it. She's a fighter just like her mom. Jessica looked down at Lily's sleeping face. Yeah, she's tough. Tougher than me, probably. The light turned green and they continued driving. Jessica's apartment complex came into view, looking even more run down than usual. The parking lot had potholes filled with rainwater. Half the streetlights were burned out. One building had plywood over a window. Richard pulled into the lot and put the car in park. He didn't say anything about the condition of the place, which Jessica was grateful for. She'd heard enough comments from people who didn't understand what it was like to live paycheck to paycheck. Listen, Richard said, reaching into his wallet. I want to help. No, Jessica said immediately, her pride flaring up. I don't need charity. I just needed a ride. Thank you for that, but I don't want your money. Richard pulled out a business card instead of cash. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering a job. Jessica stared at him confused. What? I own a company, Chen Industries. We manufacture electronics components. It's not glamorous, but it's steady work. He pulled out a pen and wrote something on the back of the card. We have an opening in our customer service department. Entry-level position. The pay is decent and we offer full benefits. Health insurance, dental, the whole package. Jessica took the card, her hands trembling. I don't understand. You don't even know me. You don't know if I'm a good worker or... You showed up to work every day for a year and a half at a diner, even with a newborn at home. You're standing at a bus stop in the rain instead of giving up. You're doing everything you can to take care of your daughter. Richard looked at her seriously. That tells me everything I need to know about your work ethic. But why would you do this? Help a complete stranger? Richard was quiet for a moment, his eyes distant. 20 years ago, I was homeless. Did you know that? Jessica shook her head, unable to imagine this well-dressed man living on the streets. I made some terrible choices in my 20s. Lost everything. My family wouldn't talk to me. I was sleeping in my car, stealing food from dumpsters. He smiled sadly. One night, a restaurant owner caught me going through his trash. Instead of calling the police, he offered me a job. Washing dishes. He let me sleep in his storage room. He gave me a chance when no one else would. What happened to him? Jessica asked quietly. He passed away 5 years ago. But before he died, I got to tell him that he saved my life. That his kindness changed everything for me. Richard tapped the business card in Jessica's hand. I can't pay him back, but I can pay it forward. And today, you're the person who needs a chance. Jessica looked at the card. The address was across town in the nice business district, a place where she'd never imagined working. There's something else, Richard added. We have an on-site daycare for employees' children. It's free, well, included in your benefits package. Jessica's breath caught.
Free daycare?
Free daycare. So you don't have to worry about finding someone to watch Lily while you work. She'll be right there in the same building. The tears came then, and Jessica couldn't stop them. She covered her face with one hand, trying not to wake Lily. Her whole body shook with sobs. Hey, Richard said gently. It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Why are you doing this? Jessica managed to ask between sobs. You don't even know me. Because someone helped me once when I had nothing, and because you deserve a chance to build a better life for your daughter. He pointed to the card again. The address is on the front. Come tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Ask for Jennifer in Human Resources. She'll be expecting you. Tomorrow? That's so soon. I don't have anything to wear. I don't come as you are. We don't care about fancy clothes. We care about people who show up and work hard. Richard smiled.
Can you do that?
Jessica nodded, still crying. Yes, I can do that. Then I'll see you tomorrow, Jessica. 9 o'clock. Don't be late. She climbed out of the car, holding Lily carefully. Richard's jacket was still wrapped around the baby. Jessica started to take it off, but Richard waved his hand. Keep it. Lily needs it more than I do. Jessica watched as the Mercedes pulled away, the red taillights disappearing into the evening rain. She looked down at the business card in her hand, then at her sleeping daughter. For the first time in months, she felt something she'd almost forgotten. Hope. Jessica barely slept that night. She kept looking at the business card on her nightstand, afraid it might disappear. At 3 a.m, she got up and Googled Chen Industries on her neighbor's Wi-Fi. The company was real. Richard Chen was real. His photo was right there on the website, the same kind face from the car. She spent an hour ironing her only decent outfit, a black skirt and white blouse she'd bought at a thrift store 2 years ago. There was a small stain near the hem of the skirt, but if she was careful, maybe no one would notice. At 6 a.m, she fed Lily and packed the diaper bag 3 times, making sure she had everything. Diapers, wipes, bottles, an extra outfit, Lily's favorite stuffed rabbit. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The bus ride across town took 45 minutes. Jessica arrived at Chen Industries at 8:15. Too early, but too nervous to wait any longer. The building was all glass and steel, modern and intimidating. Through the window, she could see people in business clothes walking around with coffee cups and laptops. She almost turned around and left. But then she looked down at Lily, who was staring up at her with those big, curious eyes, and she remembered why she was here. She took a deep breath and walked through the front doors. The lobby was bright and clean, with plants in the corners and comfortable-looking chairs. A receptionist sat behind a sleek desk, typing on her computer. She looked up and smiled when Jessica approached. "Good morning. How can I help you? I'm here to see Jennifer. In Human Resources. My name is Jessica Torres." Her voice came out smaller than she intended. The receptionist checked her computer. "Oh yes, we've been expecting you. Take the elevator to the 3rd floor. Jennifer's office is the 2nd door on the right." Jessica thanked her and headed to the elevator, her heart pounding. This was really happening. She wasn't dreaming. Jennifer turned out to be a woman in her 50s with short gray hair and warm eyes. She stood up when Jessica entered and shook her hand firmly. "Jessica, welcome. Mr. Chen told me to expect you. Please have a seat." The interview was different from any Jessica had experienced before. Jennifer didn't focus on what Jessica lacked. Instead, she asked about her experience at the diner, how she handled difficult customers, what she learned about working under pressure. She asked about Lily, about Jessica's schedule needs, about what kind of work environment helped her do her best. After 30 minutes, Jennifer smiled and said, "I'd like to offer you the position. Customer service representative. The starting salary is $42,000 a year, with full benefits starting immediately. Health insurance, dental, vision, and of course access to our on-site childcare facility." Jessica blinked. $42,000? Is that acceptable? Jessica had been making $22,000 at the diner. She'd never imagined making that much money. Yes, that's more than acceptable. Wonderful. Can you start Monday? Monday. This Monday? Jessica felt dizzy. Too soon? No. Monday is perfect. Jennifer spent the next hour showing Jessica around the building. The customer service department was on the 2nd floor, an open space with cubicles and large windows. People worked at computers wearing headsets, answering calls. Everyone looked busy but not stressed. A few people even smiled as they walked past. Then Jennifer took her to the daycare on the 1st floor, and Jessica nearly cried again. The room was bright and colorful, filled with toys and tiny chairs and murals of animals on the walls. There were cribs for the babies and play areas for the older kids. 4 staff members moved around the room, playing with children and changing diapers. "We have 2 full-time nurses on staff," Jennifer explained. "If Lily gets sick during the day, they'll call you immediately. You can come down and check on her anytime during your breaks. Most parents come down at lunch to visit." A young woman with braided hair approached them, wiping her hands on her apron. "Hi, I'm Monica. I'm the daycare director." Jessica shook her hand. "This is Lily." Monica reached out and Lily grabbed her finger, smiling. "Oh, she's precious. How old?" 8 months. "We have 3 other babies around that age right now. She'll fit right in." Monica pointed to different areas of the room. "We do tummy time, read books, sing songs. We follow your feeding schedule. You provide the formula or food, and we handle the rest." Jessica looked around the room, unable to believe this was real. "And this is free?" "Included in your benefits package," Jennifer confirmed. "As long as you work here, Lily has a spot." They finished the tour back at Jennifer's office. Jessica signed a stack of papers, her hand cramping from gripping the pen so tight. Jennifer gave her a folder with information about the company, the employee handbook, and instructions for her first day. "One more thing," Jennifer said, pulling out a badge with Jessica's photo on it. "We took this from your ID when you came in. This is your access card. You'll need it to get in the building and to clock in and out." Jessica stared at the badge. Her name was printed at the bottom. Jessica Torres, Customer Service Representative. It made everything feel official, real. She left the building at noon, her head spinning. She'd actually done it. She had a job. A real job with benefits and decent pay. Lily would be safe during the day. They might actually be okay. The first Monday came faster than Jessica expected. She woke up early, fed Lily, and got them both ready. She'd washed her work clothes 3 times over the weekend to make sure they looked as good as possible. The first few weeks were hard. Learning the computer system, memorizing scripts for different types of calls, understanding all the products the company made. Jessica stayed late every night taking notes, asking questions. She was terrified of making mistakes, of giving Richard a reason to regret helping her. But slowly she got better. The calls became easier. The customers became less intimidating. She learned that most people just wanted someone to listen and help them solve their problem. And that was something Jessica understood. She'd been that person on the other end of the line so many times, frustrated and just needing help. Her supervisor, a man named Tom, started complimenting her work. "You're a natural at this," he said one afternoon. "Your customer satisfaction scores are the highest on the team." Jessica didn't know what to say. No one had ever called her a natural at anything before. During her lunch breaks, she'd go down to the daycare and sit with Lily. The baby was thriving, playing with the other children, laughing at the songs Monica sang. Lily had even started saying "Mama" more clearly, which made Jessica's heart swell every time. 3 months passed. Jessica got her first full paycheck with benefits deducted and nearly cried. It was still more money than she'd ever seen at once. She paid off her back rent. She paid the overdue daycare fees from her old place. She bought Lily new clothes that actually fit. She even bought herself a pair of shoes that didn't have holes in the soles. But in all that time, she never saw Richard. His office was on the executive floor, and Jessica worked on the second floor. Sometimes she'd see him walking through the lobby, always in a suit, always looking busy. She wanted to thank him again, to tell him how much his help had meant, but she never found the courage to approach him. Then one Thursday afternoon, Tom called her into the conference room. Jessica's stomach dropped. This was it. She'd done something wrong. They were letting her go, but when she walked in, Richard was sitting at the table. "Jessica," he said, standing up, "please sit down. I've been hearing good things about your work." Jessica sat, her hands gripping the edge of the chair. "Thank you, sir. Tom tells me you've been teaching yourself the database system in your spare time, that you even suggested some improvements to how we route calls." Jessica nodded slowly. "I noticed some patterns in the calls I was getting. Thought maybe there was a more efficient way to organize them. I'm sorry if I overstepped." "You didn't overstep," Richard interrupted. "You showed initiative. That's exactly what we need here." He leaned forward. "I have a proposition for you." Jessica held her breath. "We have a management training program. It's designed for employees who show potential, but might not have traditional qualifications. Evening classes twice a week, paid for by the company. Upon completion, you'd be promoted to a coordinator position." Jessica stared at him. "Management training? You'd be good at it." "Tom thinks so." "I think so," Richard smiled. "What do you say?" Jessica thought about everything that had happened over the past 3 months. The bus stop in the rain, the warm car, the chance she'd been given. And now this. "Yes," she said, her voice stronger than before. "Absolutely yes." Richard stood and shook her hand. "Good, classes start next week." "Don't let me down." "I won't," Jessica promised. And she meant it. The management training classes were harder than Jessica expected. Tuesday and Thursday evenings from 6 to 8:30. After a full day of work, she'd pick up Lily from daycare, rush home, feed her dinner, and put her down early. Then her sister Amy would come over to watch Lily while Jessica attended the online classes from her tiny kitchen table. Some nights she wanted to quit. Her eyes would blur from staring at the computer screen. The concepts felt too big, too complicated. Business strategy, team management, conflict resolution. These were things for people with college degrees, not high school dropouts from bad neighborhoods. but every time she thought about quitting, she'd remember standing in the rain with Lily. She'd remember Richard's words, "Someone helped me once when I had nothing." So she pushed through. She took notes until her hand cramped. She asked questions even when she felt stupid. She studied during her lunch breaks while Lily napped in the daycare downstairs. The other people in her training program all had college degrees. Some even had years of management experience from other companies. Jessica felt like she didn't belong. Like any moment someone would realize she was an imposter and kick her out. But then something strange started happening. In their group projects, people started asking for Jessica's input. When they discussed customer service scenarios, her answers came from real experience, not textbooks. She knew what frustrated customers needed because she'd been that frustrated customer. She understood the pressure of the job because she lived it every day. One evening during a break, a woman named Patricia pulled her aside. Patricia had an MBA and 10 years of experience in corporate management. "I just want you to know," Patricia said, "you're the best person in this program. The way you understand people, the way you solve problems. It's natural for you. Some of us had to learn it from books. You just know it." Jessica didn't know what to say. She mumbled a thank you and went back to her seat. But Patricia's words stayed with her. Maybe she did belong here after all. 6 months into the training program, Richard called Jessica to his office. It was the first time she'd been to the executive floor. The carpet was thicker up here, the offices bigger. Floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over the city. Richard's office was surprisingly simple. No fancy decorations, just a desk, some chairs, and photos of his family on the wall. He gestured for Jessica to sit. "How's the training going?" he asked. "It's challenging, but I'm learning a lot. Tom says you're top of your class. Jennifer says the same thing." Jessica felt her cheeks flush. "I'm just trying my best. That's all anyone can ask." Richard leaned back in his chair. "Can I tell you something, Jessica? About why I really stopped that day in the rain?" Jessica nodded, curious. "I told you about being homeless, about the restaurant owner who helped me, but I didn't tell you the whole story." Richard's expression grew distant. "Before I lost everything, I was arrogant. I came from money, went to a good school, thought I was better than everyone else. I made fun of people who worked minimum wage jobs, called them lazy, said they weren't trying hard enough." He paused, his jaw tight with the memory. "Then I lost everything, made some bad investments, gambled away the rest. When I was living in my car, stealing food to survive, I realized something. All those people I'd looked down on, they were working harder than I ever had. They were doing the best they could with what they had. I'd just been lucky, born into the right family. That luck ran out." Richard looked directly at Jessica. "When I saw you standing in that rain with Lily, I saw myself 20 years ago. Except you were stronger than I was. You hadn't given up. You were still fighting. And I thought, what if someone had helped me sooner? How many years of suffering could I have avoided?" Jessica felt tears building but blinked them back. "That's why I stopped. Not because I felt sorry for you, because I recognized your strength and wanted to give you the tools to use it." He slid a folder across the desk. "Which brings me to why you're here." Jessica opened the folder. Inside was a job offer. Customer Experience Coordinator. The salary made her breath catch. Almost $60,000 a year. "You've completed the training program with the highest marks we've ever seen. You've implemented 3 changes to our call system that have improved efficiency by 15%. Your team loves you, your customers love you, and frankly, you're too good to stay in an entry-level position." Richard smiled. "Congratulations, Jessica. You earned this." Jessica stared at the paper, unable to speak. A year ago, she'd been 3 months behind on rent, working a minimum wage job, wondering how she'd feed her baby. Now she was being offered a coordinator position at a real company with real benefits and a salary she'd never dreamed of. "Don't know what to say," she finally whispered. "Say you'll take the job and keep making us better." "Yes, of course, yes." Jessica wiped her eyes. "Mr. Chen, I need to tell you something. That day in the rain, you saved my life. You didn't just give me a job. You gave me hope. You made me believe I could be more than I was." Richard's expression softened. "You always had it in you, Jessica. I just opened a door. You did everything else yourself. The late night studying, the extra effort at work, the dedication to being better. That was all you." Jessica left his office with the folder clutched to her chest. She went straight to the daycare to pick up Lily. The baby was playing with blocks, stacking them carefully, then knocking them down with delight. "There's my smart girl," Jessica said, scooping her up. Lily giggled and grabbed Jessica's face with both hands. Monica walked over, smiling. Someone's happy today. I got a promotion, Jessica said, unable to keep the joy out of her voice. That's wonderful. But I'm not surprised. You're always here early, always working hard. Lily's lucky to have you. That night, Jessica called Amy and told her everything. Her sister screamed so loud that Jessica had to hold the phone away from her ear. I'm so proud of you, Amy said. Remember when you called me last year, crying because you didn't know how you'd make rent? Look at you now. Jessica did remember. She remembered a lot of dark moments from that year. The eviction notices, the empty fridge, the nights she'd cried herself to sleep, wondering if she was failing Lily. But she also remembered the rain, and the black Mercedes, and a kind stranger who saw someone worth helping. The promotion started the following month. Jessica got her own small office, though she spent most of her time on the floor with her team. She managed 12 customer service representatives, and she made sure to treat each one the way Richard had treated her, with respect, with patience, with the belief that everyone had potential if given the right opportunity. She started noticing things about her team. Kevin was always late but never made excuses. She learned he was taking care of his sick mother and adjusted his schedule. Rachel made small mistakes but worked twice as hard as everyone else. Jessica realized she had dyslexia and got her the accommodation she needed. David seemed distant and distracted until Jessica asked him directly what was wrong. He admitted he was living in his car. She connected him with the company's employee assistance program. Tom, her old supervisor, pulled her aside one day. You're doing something special here, you know that? Your team's numbers are the best in the company, but more than that, people actually want to work for you. That's rare. Jessica thought about Richard's words. I just opened a door. You did everything else yourself. Maybe that was the secret. Not just opening doors for yourself, but opening them for others too. One evening, Jessica was working late, finishing up some reports, when she noticed someone standing at her office door. It was Richard. Burning the midnight oil? He asked. Jessica laughed. Just trying to keep up with everything. This job is no joke. You're doing great. Better than great, actually. He stepped into her office. I wanted to talk to you about something. We're thinking of creating a new program, a mentorship initiative for employees who want to develop their skills but might not have traditional backgrounds. People like you were. People who just need a chance. Jessica sat up straighter. What kind of program? Pairing experienced employees with newer ones. Providing training, support, guidance. Helping people see their own potential. Richard looked at her meaningfully. I'd like you to help design it. And eventually run it. Jessica felt that familiar flutter of fear and excitement. Me, run a whole program? You understand what these people need because you've been there. You know what it's like to doubt yourself, to feel like you don't belong, but you also know what it takes to push through that. Richard smiled. Plus, you're good at this. Really good. So what do you say? Jessica thought about standing in the rain. She thought about the warmth of that car. She thought about every person who'd ever told her she wasn't good enough, smart enough, educated enough. Then she thought about Kevin and Rachel and David. She thought about all the people out there right now, standing in their own rain, wondering if things would ever get better. I say yes, Jessica answered. When do we start? 2 years had passed since that rainy afternoon at the bus stop. Jessica still thought about it sometimes, usually when she was sitting in her new apartment, the one with 2 bedrooms and windows that actually locked properly. Lily had her own room now, painted soft yellow with stars on the ceiling. The little girl was almost 3, talking in full sentences and asking a million questions about everything. Jessica had learned to answer most of them. But the one question she couldn't fully answer yet was the one Lily asked every night before bed. Mama, why do you help people? Jessica would kiss her forehead and say, because someone helped us once, sweetie. And now it's our turn to help others. The mentorship program had taken 6 months to design. Jessica worked with Richard and the HR team, creating something she wished had existed for her. They called it the Second Chance Initiative, and it focused on hiring people who'd faced barriers. Single parents, people without college degrees, those with gaps in their work history, anyone who'd been told they weren't good enough. The program launched on a Monday morning. Jessica stood in the conference room looking at the faces of 15 new employees. They all had that same look she'd worn 2 years ago, nervous, hopeful, afraid to believe this was real. Welcome to Chen Industries, Jessica began. I know some of you are wondering why you're here. Maybe you think there's been a mistake. Maybe you're waiting for someone to realize you don't have the right qualifications or the right background. She saw heads nodding around the room. I want to tell you a story, Jessica continued. 2 years ago, I was standing at a bus stop in the rain with my 8-month-old daughter. I'd just lost my job. I was broke, behind on rent, and I'd missed the last bus home. I thought my life was over. The room was completely silent now. Everyone was listening. Then a man in a Mercedes stopped and offered me a ride. I almost said no because I didn't think people like him helped people like me. But I got in that car and it changed my entire life. That man was Mr. Chen, the owner of this company. He didn't just give me a ride home. He gave me a job here. Then he gave me training. Then a promotion. And now I'm standing here in front of you. Jessica paused, looking at each person. You're here because you deserve a chance. Not charity, not pity. A real chance to show what you can do. And I'm here to make sure you get everything you need to succeed. A woman in the back raised her hand. She looked to be in her 30s with tired eyes and a nervous smile. What if we mess up? What if we're not good enough? Then we help you get better, Jessica said simply. That's what this program is about. We're investing in you. We believe in you. And we're not going anywhere. Over the next few months, Jessica watched her program grow. Some people struggled at first, just like she had. But with support and training and someone believing in them, most of them flourished. They reminded Jessica of herself, staying late to learn the systems, asking questions, working twice as hard because they knew how rare this opportunity was. One of the new hires was a woman named Brenda. She was 42, had 3 kids, and had been unemployed for 2 years after her factory job shut down. Everyone told her she was too old to start over, that she didn't have the skills for modern office work. But Jessica saw something in her. The same determination she'd once had. Brenda struggled with the computers at first. She'd call Jessica at her desk embarrassed, asking for help with basic tasks. Jessica never made her feel stupid. She remembered how terrifying everything had been when she started. After 3 months, Brenda was one of the top performers. She'd even created a more efficient system for tracking customer complaints. When Jessica congratulated her, Brenda cried. No one's ever believed in me like this, Brenda said. My whole life, people told me I wasn't smart enough. That factory work was all I was good for. You made me believe I could do more. Jessica hugged her. You always could. You just needed someone to see it. The program's success got attention. Local news came to do a story. Other companies started calling, asking how they could create similar programs. Richard was thrilled. You've built something special here, he told Jessica one afternoon in her office. It wasn't the small office anymore. She'd been promoted again, this time to Customer Experience Manager. This program is changing lives. It's what you did for me, Jessica said. I'm just doing it for others. No, Richard corrected gently. I gave you one opportunity. You've given dozens of people opportunities, and you've taught this entire company that talent exists everywhere if we're willing to look for it. That's all you, Jessica. Jessica felt proud but also humble. She knew she wasn't special. She'd just been lucky enough to meet someone kind on her worst day, and now she got to be that person for others. One Thursday evening, Jessica was getting ready to leave when she noticed something through her office window. Across the street at the bus stop, a young woman stood in the rain. She was holding a baby, maybe 6 or 7 months old. She looked exhausted and lost. Jessica's heart stopped. It was like looking at herself 2 years ago. Without thinking, she grabbed her umbrella and her keys. She took the elevator down and walked across the street. The rain was coming down hard, just like that day. Excuse me, Jessica said, holding the umbrella over the woman and her baby. Are you okay? The woman looked up, startled. She was young, maybe 21 or 22. Her eyes were red from crying. I'm fine. Thank you. You don't look fine. Where are you trying to go? I live about 4 miles from here. I was supposed to catch the bus, but I missed it. The next one doesn't come for over an hour. The woman's voice cracked. I just lost my job today. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. Jessica felt tears in her own eyes. She knew exactly why. Because sometimes when you're drowning, you'll grab onto any hand that reaches for you. What's your name? Jessica asked. Nicole. This is my son, Brandon. Hi, Nicole. I'm Jessica. She smiled at the baby, who stared back with big brown eyes. Listen, my car is in the garage. Let me give you a ride home. I couldn't ask you to do that. You're not asking, I'm offering. Jessica thought about Richard's words from so long ago. I'm not leaving a mother and baby out here in this weather. They walked to Jessica's car together. It wasn't a Mercedes, just a reliable Honda she'd bought 6 months ago. But it was warm and dry, and Lily's car seat was in the back for Brandon to sit in. During the drive, Nicole told her story. It was heartbreakingly familiar. The absent father, the money struggles, the feeling of drowning. Jessica listened without judgment, just like Richard had listened to her. When they arrived at Nicole's apartment building, Jessica pulled out one of her business cards. She wrote on the back, just like Richard had done, "We have a program at my company. It's called the Second Chance Initiative. We hire people who need a chance to prove themselves. The pay is good, benefits are great, and we have free childcare on site." Nicole stared at the card like it might disappear. "Why would you help me?" "You don't even know me." Jessica smiled, remembering asking Richard the exact same question. "Because someone helped me once when I needed it most. And because you deserve a chance to build a better life for your son." She pointed to the address on the card. "Come Monday morning at 9. Ask for me. I'll be expecting you." Nicole's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know what to say. Say you'll be there. And that you'll work hard. That's all I need to hear." "I'll be there," Joel whispered. "I promise." Jessica watched her walk into the building, holding Brandon close. Then she sat in her car for a moment, thinking about everything that had happened. The rain, the Mercedes, the opportunities, the growth. The fear and the hope and the hard work. She thought about Richard's words from 2 years ago. "Someone helped me once. Now I'm helping you. Someday you'll help someone else. That someday was today and tomorrow. And every day after that." Jessica pulled out her phone and sent Richard a text. "Just gave someone a ride home from the bus stop. Offered her a job." "The cycle continues," his response came quickly. "Proud of you. This is how we change the world, one person at a time." Jessica drove home to her daughter, to her warm apartment, to the life she'd built from nothing. She thought about all the people in the Second Chance program, building their own better lives. She thought about Nicole and Brandon, and the hope she'd seen in that young mother's eyes. The rain had stopped by the time she got home. Lily ran to the door when Jessica walked in, arms outstretched. "Mama, you're home." Jessica scooped her up and held her tight. "I am, baby. I'm home." And for the first time in her life, home felt like something she'd earned. Something she'd built. Something she could finally count on. But more importantly, she'd learned that the best way to honor the kindness someone showed you wasn't just to say thank you. It was to turn around and show that same kindness to someone else. That was the real gift Richard had given her. Not the job or the money or the opportunities, but the understanding that kindness multiplies. That one good act can ripple out and touch dozens of lives. That being helped means learning how to help others. Jessica had stood in the rain once, lost and afraid and alone. Now she carried an umbrella for anyone who needed it. And that made all the difference.